Welcome to Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Weishuttle, and as always, I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Doug Weishuttle. Doug, I've been studying my Super Bowl prop bets. I've been checking in on what commercials there are, and I still have yet to place a bet on the Olympics, so it's kind of been a weird week.
The Olympics, I don't know. I don't think I've ever placed a bet on the Olympics. The Super Bowl, yes, of course, I've placed bets.
Yeah, the Olympics, I just don't know enough about the sports. I don't know enough about the athletes who are participating in the sports. And COVID has thrown things into a tailspin because you just don't know who's going to be playing, who's not going to be playing, or what's going on.
It's going to, regardless. A lot of people like betting on the Olympics.
Yeah.
Everyone loves betting on the Super Bowl, whether it's actual in a sports book or you're doing the squares or whatever. I know a couple of the online sports book have online squares for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you told me about that before. And then you told me also Caesars has, 17 pages of prop bets on the Super Bowl?
They do this every year.
Every year?
It's really for their Caesars Palace, the Las Vegas sports book.
Can I tell you, it's almost overwhelming, the amount of prop bets on the thing. And by the way, maybe this year I will place a bet on the coin flip, because that's one bet I never place a bet on, because for me, that is like, when you say gambling, that is gambling, because I think there's no theory or thought placed into that bet. And boy, was I wrong, because luckily, we had an interview with Logan Fields that we're replaying this week, and he's a professional sports bettor. He wrote 2020 Sports Betting, the book, a fantastic book, and he actually has a process on how to bet the coin flip, which is worth the price of the book alone. But the book is so good.
I have to admit,
we're interviewing again today.
It's a very research-oriented process of how to do the coin flip.
It is,
but it seems to be well worth it.
Yeah,
if you look at his results, yes.
And like I said, this is a replay of a. I can't remember when we interviewed him.
Back at the beginning of baseball season.
Was it?
Yes.
Was it? But I asked him about the coin flip bet, and because that was fascinating to me, and very interesting answer. And it's a very interesting book. It's a great book. It's 2020 Sports Betting. And in addition to the interview with Logan Fields, we're going to have a Beatin The House segment. We're going to have our Super Bowl picks and bets, and maybe we'll throw some prop bets in there. Who knows? And we're also going to have a book report. So, but right after the rundown we're going to have here, we're going to have Logan Fields on. Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Exit 1.
Well, we're going to continue our conversation because we do have the really two big events going on. Coming up, we have the Super Bowl, or as everyone refers to it as the big game.
I hit on the topics of Exit 1?
Yes.
Really?
And
all right.
We have Olympics going on right now, and everyone is predicting record amounts of betting on both. We've got Play USA released a study saying that they're expecting that bettors could be placing over $1 billion in wagers on legal sports books for the Super Bowl.
Okay, so they're not counting the offshore books, and they're also not counting, I guess some offices have the squares that you fill in, or some of the sports bars you go into, or any bar or restaurant, they have the squares.
Play USA is saying $1 billion in wagers on Super Bowl 56 at the legal online and retail sports books across the country.
Okay.
And they're looking at it in terms of between what happened the previous year regarding the Super Bowl betting and also what the status of the country is now, because between last year's Super Bowl and this year's Super Bowl, there are now about 9 more additional states that are offering legal sports betting.
I was about to ask that. I was wondering how it grew since last Super Bowl.
Well, according to last year's numbers, 120 million people lived in 21 legal sports betting jurisdictions for last year's Super Bowl.
Last year, okay.
We now have 30 states and Washington, D.C. all have legal sports betting in some way, shape, or form that's actually in operation. So we're looking at more than 166 million people having access to legal sports betting.
That's incredible.
For last year's Super Bowl, it was only 120 million. There's another 47 million people that have access to legalized sports betting.
You know, I can't wait to see the numbers after Super Bowl because, look, not only do we have a lot of states, we have the state that launched mobile sports betting, and that's New York. I'm very curious to see the numbers coming out of New York.
Well, New York is already blasting by records everywhere.
It's incredible. So it's crazy.
It's going to be fun to watch that. But in terms of the Olympics now, too, because we also – the same numbers apply to the Olympics. This is actually the second year that people are going to be able to bet on the Olympics from their mobile devices.
So the Winter Olympics, what was the last Winter Olympics?
4 years ago.
I guess 2018?
Yep.
So, yeah, no, I guess we had sports betting then.
And according to this
we just got sports betting.
This was the report from the American Gaming Association regarding the Tokyo Games last summer. 20 million American adults. I have to say American adults. 20 million American adults.
How about children? What were the children
exactly.
Were children betting?
We'll be talking about that in the Beat the House segment.
Another section on the children betting. Good. Okay, great.
It was 20 million American adults planned to bet on at least one event during the Tokyo Games last summer.
We did bet on the Summer Olympics in great numbers, right? Okay, right. So this is the second time for the Winter Olympics.
Exactly. Now, the one thing I noticed, a lot of people are raising the point that the professional bettors really do not bet on the Olympics. It's more of a casual bettor.
Well, yeah,
area.
Like I said, I don't know any of the athletes involved. I don't know. I never watched the sports involved. I mean, this is the Winter Olympics. I'm not gonna sit down and watch figure skating. I know a lot of people like figure skating. It's just not for me. I will watch the hockey.
Well,
I'm not crazy about the skiing.
That's one of the things affecting bettors, they're saying. The National Hockey League will have no players.
Yeah, I know. Well, again, that goes to I don't know any of the athletes involved.
Well, yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, like I said, I've never bet on the Olympics in my life. I don't intend to this season.
I want to see the prop bets for the Olympics. I have to check them out.
What do you mean in terms of number of medals?
Some guy I don't know who's like a star in Russia that I wouldn't know about. He'll probably get 5 goals and everyone will be fascinated. But, for bettors, it's going to be, I don't know the guy. I don't know what he does. I don't know if I'll ever see him in the pros. So.
The other aspect of the Tokyo Olympics here, or the Beijing Olympics, I'm sorry, is their COVID policy.
Well, that's another thing. Like I said, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I could place a bet on someone, and all of a sudden they're in COVID protocol.
But we should be looking at, especially with New York involved now, there should be records set for both Olympic betting and Super Bowl betting.
I know the Olympics are a big thing. A lot of people love the Olympics, but I think they might get a boost in ratings from people betting on them because if someone put a bet on the Olympics, chances are they're going to watch that sport to see how they're doing. So, plus the problem is the time zone situation here. Look, we saw the opening ceremonies. It was 6:30 in the morning when we watched the opening thing. So there's going to be a lot of sporting events happening overnight while the East Coast is sleeping.
Well, there are also other.
It'd be interesting.
There were other events going on before the opening ceremonies too, which was kind of odd. They had a couple. I saw a couple of events.
Oh, really?
The night before the opening ceremonies. I don't know if they were actual medal events or just exhibitions or whatever, but they were televised. So okay. I don't understand how they're working this Olympics. I know there's a lot of companies out there like Peacock and Fubo TV that are actually setting up Olympic sections on their streaming networks.
Let me tell you something. Fubo TV is doing amazing things with all sports, but especially the Olympics. I mean, they are covering the Olympics like you wouldn't believe. So it's great to watch Fubo TV just to see the Olympic coverage.
And last little note for Super Bowl. No team from a state with legal sportsbooks has ever played in the Super Bowl. Ohio came close. They passed it, but they haven't launched.
It's legal in Ohio, but I guess they don't have a sports book right now.
They haven't launched.
They haven't launched yet. So
they have the rules out.
I guess
They've
you're
got
right.
all that
Ohio
stuff.
is the closest.
And California, they're just starting their debates on legalizing sports betting. So maybe next year. Maybe if the Jets or Giants or Buffalo Bills make it in, you're going to see a New York or New Jersey legal sports betting
Eagles
states team.
Sure.
Well, there's going to be more states by next.
I'm sure.
There's probably going to be about 40, 45 states now by the time next Super Bowl rolls around.
Exit 2.
We've been spending a lot of time each week almost dedicating an exit. I think we have been dedicating an exit to NFTs.
NFTs are everywhere. I just did an interview with Patty Power, and he has this great platform, American Sports Exchange. And it all deals, he called it the gamifying of trading NFTs, which is a great way to put it. So NFTs are everywhere. They're going to be on platforms everywhere next year.
Well, we've talked about NFTs in relation to esports before. And usually what you see here with an NFT and an esports organization, they are selling the NFTs that has some kind of utility or some kind of special benefit that the purchase of the NFT unlocks, whether it's like a meet and greet or some kind of avatar that you get to play on the esports tournaments, that sort of thing. Well, we've got a group, 100 Thieves, who are bucking that trend. And I said bucking.
Bucking that trend how?
They have released, let me get the number right here. They have released, several thousand NFTs that are free.
You know what? This might be my chance to really check out an NFT. I'm going to go to their site and get an NFT.
The NFT.
How do I do that? Can I just go to their site and get an NFT?
Well, they're all sold out already.
Oh, so, all right. Well, how can they be sold out? They're free.
Well, they don't have a limited number. They're collectibles. There's no utility involved.
I wish you tell me this before they sell out, or not sell out, but before everyone grabs them. I wanted to get an NFT. I have yet to own an NFT. Well, I just people are having these NFTs worth millions of dollars. To get a free one would be great.
Let's take a step back. These NFTs,
all right.
100 Thieves just won the League of Legends Championship Series.
Okay.
One of the biggest esports tournaments out there in competitive gaming. Big prize pool, big purse that they won. And to celebrate, they gave each of their players and their coaches diamond necklaces.
Okay.
Very unique, one-of-a-kind diamond chain necklaces.
Okay.
And what the NFTs are images of those necklaces. Now, I think there's some variations in them, but they created NFTs not to give anybody some kind of special access to anything. You didn't have to buy
just
these
a
things.
Souvenir.
It was a collectible.
Collectible souvenir.
To celebrate their championship, which is very unusual for an esports organization to do. Most of the time you see them trying to raise revenue or doing something very unique with an NFT.
Well, this is not something nice for their fans.
And it's actually kind of interesting to see a esports organization do that. I saw the necklaces they gave out. I can't call them they're chains. Necklaces, yeah. But I've seen the chains. The chains are amazing looking. And if you love that type of like bling, I guess is what it's called, they're beautiful.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right now, believe it or not. I went on the NFT because I want to see one of these NFT things. Oh, yeah, look at this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, wow.
So, congrats to 100 Thieves, and also congrats on doing something really nice for their fans.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. It looks really nice, too.
Exit 3.
We're going to talk about how not to release a team name.
Boy, that was a mess from the beginning. Are you talking about the Washington Commanders?
Yes.
Did I get it right? The Commanders?
Yes.
I almost said Commodores, but Commanders, yeah.
I don't know if that's a better name than Washington Football Team or...
I would have liked... Look, I like Washington Football Team. I like it when soccer teams name that,
FC?
The New York Football Club, or I like the Washington Football Team. So apparently, it was a big mess to begin with. I think before they had their naming ceremony or whatever they're calling it, I think the night before, Joe Theismann was doing an interview, and I think he said, the fans are really going to like the name Commanders. And, I guess he let the cat out of the bag pretty quickly. And then someone took a picture of the hallway, right?
Everything was so messed up for this. Monday, they announced their name on Groundhog Day.
Tuesday,
February
2nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Wednesday the 2nd.
Wednesday the 2nd, okay.
And what happened on Monday was the Joe Theismann interview.
Where it was a Monday, okay.
He kind of let it slip that the name was Commanders. I didn't see the interview. I still haven't seen the interview.
Well, I think it was something in the vein of, he said, I think everyone's going to like the name Commanders. And wasn't there something about they reserved a website or a domain name or something like that?
Last week.
Okay.
And
this was even before Theismann.
This is something that should be quiet, and really in the past.
How can it be?
In the past, it would go unnoticed.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it will never go unnoticed because there are people combing not only the Patent Trademark Office, but also the GoDaddy sites, the ICANN web
what
address
we're talking
sites.
about is someone, I guess,
Here we go.
for the team,
last week,
reserve the domain name, right?
Commanders.com, which was already reserved to a private address. Commanders,
so would they buy it from that private address or something?
They did something to it.
Okay.
Commanders.com was moved to Mark Monitor.
Okay.
That's the registrar that the NFL uses for all their domain names, team as well as league. So somebody noticed that maneuver, Commanders.com, because there were other ones out there. I think there were like 5 or 6 other names that were like the Red Tails and
like a Red Wolves or something
there was all kind of stuff there, but the one that made the move to Mark Monitor was only Commanders.com.
Okay.
So that was a tip-off right there. Then the day before the big announcement, the gift shop, the pro shop at the stadium, did not cover their windows. On the back wall of the gift shop was the word Commanders in big burgundy and yellow lettering.
I saw the picture. Someone took a picture.
And someone also did another thing. They took a picture of the Commanders merchandise being delivered.
I actually like the uniforms. I saw pictures of the uniforms.
I don't know.
I like the black ones.
It takes me a while to actually.
They have the W in the front.
Yeah,
of the helmet
I
kind
just
of thing. I like it.
It takes me a while when teams get new uniforms. I'm still not even liking like the new Jets uniforms.
Yeah.
I certainly hate the new Patriots uniforms. I miss the old Patriots uniforms.
What, Pat Patriot?
Yeah, I don't like Elvis, the Flying Elvis. I don't like that one. But again, it's a matter of getting.
Well,
used
I know
to it too.
Eagles want to go back. Well, not the Eagles themselves. The Eagles fans want the Eagles to go back to the Kelly green instead of the midnight green that the Eagles are wearing. So
I didn't like that change either. But again, it's and again then you have the Color Rush uniforms in the NFL.
Oh yeah,
I'm curious to see what the Color Rush Commander uniforms look like. I guess they're going to be all burgundy. Hopefully they're not all yellow.
Well, I think they're all burgundy. There's one all burgundy. I think there's an all black one. I don't know if that's a Color Rush one, but no, I kind of like those uniforms.
Staying with the NFL before we get out of this exit.
Okay.
The New York Jets have been, from research by VegasSlotsOnline.com, have the worst fans in the NFL.
What kind of research are they doing?
They did a study on stadium.
A study?
Yes.
Okay. A study.
They did a stadium attendance.
Vegas Slots Online just did a study.
Yes, I know.
Okay. They
Take
get
this with a
grant money
grain
for
of
that?
salt.
Okay.
Take this with a grain of
All
salt.
right.
The study had different aspects of the team itself: the stadium attendance by the fans, social media interaction, and TV viewership. The Jets actually had the third highest stadium attendance.
Okay.
But all the other categories, social media was the worst. The Instagram, 0.8% of their fans and followers on Instagram only liked some of their postings. The Jets also had the worst local household TV viewership at 7.12%. So the results, really quickly here, we're giving the short shrift, and it was actually kind of funny to read the study. Here are the worst teams. The teams with the worst fans. Jets, number one.
According to Vegas Slots Online. Right. Don't attribute that to us.
Jets are the first ones with the worst fans. Then Lions, Washington Washington Commanders, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Steelers, fifth worst fans.
Certainly a lot of that is associated with the team record. I mean, if the Jets had 10 wins, that'd be flipped. So
the Steelers had the best TV viewership, by the way.
Steelers always have great fans. I mean, if
well, not according to Vegas Slots Online.
Apparently, the Vegas Slots Online, apparently not. But no, I always thought they had the greatest fans in the world because even away games, they have a presence there in the stands. Yes. So I like the Steeler fans.
Exit 4.
And last but not least for this week, we're going to be talking Battle Court.
I don't even know what that is.
It's a team highlight concept.
Okay. I don't know too much about highlight. The only contact I ever had with highlight was I think I saw a brief glimpse of it in the starting of the Miami Vice TV show. They had a little clip of highlight.
That's pretty much all I know about it.
That's
too,
it. That's it for me.
But
I've
Magic
never,
City
I've never
Highlight,
seen it. Yeah.
the professional highlight league in the United States.
I assume that's down in Florida.
It's in Florida.
Yeah, it seems
because
like
you can't talk about sports betting down in Florida, so you might as well talk about highlight.
Well, I don't know where highlight is except in Florida. I'm sure it's other places. I just don't know where.
Well, Magic City Highlight is launching its 5th season with the groundbreaking team highlight concept called Battle Court. The league has taken its entire roster and divided it into 4 squads. The old teams don't exist anymore for this season. They took the entire league roster, broke them into 4 teams, 4 squads, and they'll be competing head-to-head against each other in both singles and doubles competitions.
You know, I almost have no reaction to this. I would love to see what the reaction is to hardcore highlight fans.
I've never met a hardcore
Do they
highlight
like
fan.
this? Well, I know you can bet on it, but do they like this? Do they like splitting up the teams? I wouldn't imagine Major League Baseball fans or NFL fans would like their team broken up and just put into 4 different teams. So I'm curious to see what highlight fans think of this.
Well, they're going to be doing singles and doubles matches all the way through to a playoff and then a championship series.
Okay.
It's going to be played like tennis. It's going to be
now. Can I watch this somewhere? Because I'm
games
kind of
are.
interested.
I
in
am telling
what
you this
is.
right now. Games are live streamed via the Highlight app. There's a Highlight app, and at watchhighlight.com.
The problem with that is, how the hell do you spell highlight?
Jaialai.
Would have never guessed that.
I only know it because it's in front of me.
Would
here
have
on my
never
notes.
have guessed that.
But they're going to be doing 3 games a week.
Okay.
And they're going to be played in Miami, Florida. Played like tennis. 2 out of 3 sets played to 6 points each set. Players have 2 serves. There's no deuces. There's no extending it. It's always the final point will always win. There's no extending the set itself.
This means so little to me. I have
I just
no
thought it was interesting
earthly
that
idea what
you're
this
seeing-
game is about. So what you just told me is I wouldn't know what that meant. I wouldn't know how big of a change that was from the regular highlight matches.
They don't play it like tennis.
Okay.
That
All right.
much I know that much.
Okay.
But it's going to be kind of interesting. I just figured every sport's doing something different, and now even highlights coming up with something different. I wonder if this has something to do with betting.
Well, I'm curious why highlight. I mean, it's been around forever. And a lot of people, especially in here, New Jersey and the Northeast, you really don't know too much about highlight. I'm surprised that it hasn't tried to make a move, to other states or tried to make. Well, I mean, there's a million ESPNs. Why isn't highlight shown on one of the ESPNs like at 2:00 in the morning? Huh?
I'm wondering why table tennis took off, but not highlight.
Yeah, why are people betting like crazy on table tennis in Colorado and Oregon? And highlight has been around for so long, and it's not really catching the eye of bettors.
Well, I may check out Battle Court.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll check it out. And today's trip down the Turnpike was brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
And as always, you can get in touch with Turnpike Sports by calling or texting us at 609-512-5910. That's 609-512-5910. At Turnpike Sports is the show's handle on Facebook and Twitter. At Turnpike Sports Radio is our handle on Instagram. And as always, our email address is info@turnpikesportsradio.com. And don't forget, you can listen to the show via Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, radio.com mobile app, as well as Stitcher and YouTube. You can also watch us on your smart TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. Head on over to turnpikesports.net. You'll be able to watch our video channel there.
Well, we got a great show coming up for you. Got a Beatin The House segment. We have our Super Bowl bets and picks, and I'm not sure what we're going to be doing. I know we got some, I guess, with spread, and we'll try the over/under, and maybe some prop bets.
We'll do the spread and the total.
All right, yeah, maybe some other stuff. If I try to figure out the 17 pages of Caesar's Sportsbook prop bets,
I need a bookmark to go through some of this.
We're going to have a book report, but right after this, I'm talking with professional sports bettor Logan Fields, who wrote the book 2020 Sports Betting. And it's an absolutely great interview. There's a lot of great tips Logan talks about, and I'll be talking to him. It's a replay of a interview I did earlier in the year, but it has some great Super Bowl betting tips on how to bet and things like that. So Logan Fields is coming up right after this on Turnpike Sports.
The Casino Esports Conference returns to Las Vegas this March 23rd and 24th at the Alexis Resort. Now in its 6th year, the Casino Esports Conference brings together online and land-based gaming operators with professionals from all avenues of the esports industry. This 2-day conference and exhibition will allow attendees to discover new revenue and traffic through esports events and wagering. The Casino Esports Conference is the preeminent event to meet, share ideas, explore a wealth of product and service solutions, and to find the best way forward in the lucrative market of esports. CEC is the only conference covering the legal, policy, and regulatory dimensions of getting into this constantly evolving form of gaming and entertainment. Panels include experts discussing wagering, mobile social gaming, the latest technology, and much, much more. Don't wait. Head on over to www.casinoesportconf.com and register today to attend this exciting and unique look at the esports industry. That website again is www.casinoesportconf.com. The Casino Esports Conference, live and back in Las Vegas.
Auto Accident Help Desk is a marketing agency connecting callers with attorneys. Providers pay a fee for advertising services.
I love getting my kids ready and driving them to school.
But a careless driver can change your life in an instant, and insurance companies want to settle on the cheap. Auto Accident Help Desk connects victims with powerful lawyers. They fight for you.
I called Auto Accident Help Desk and got help for my pain and suffering.
Don't let an insurance company take advantage of you. Our attorneys fight and beat big insurance every day.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
If you've been injured in an automobile accident in the last 6 months, you owe it to yourself to make this free call with no obligation. We're available 24/7 to help you get the money you deserve for your pain and suffering. Auto Accident Help Desk helps accident victims like you every day.
Call 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766. 800-297-9766.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. Doing this show, I get to read a lot of books about gambling and sports betting, and recently I just read one of the best. It gives you tips about betting on football, baseball, golf, and even lottery. And we're going to hear all about it because on the line we have the author of 2020 Sports Betting, Think Like a Pro, Logan Fields. Logan, thanks for joining us.
Oh, great. Good to be here.
I got to tell you, congratulations on such a great book. It's packed with information. I mean, I have my copy in front of me. It's underlined. I have things highlighted and starred. It's a really great book. I mean, and you're a professional sports bettor, and you have a great story about how you got started in this business. At what point did you think or get that concept that, you know what, I can actually make money sports betting?
This was way back in 1999. Man, 22 years, time flies. I was driving home from work, and the concept of betting on sports online was completely foreign. And I kept hearing ads on sports radio about this casino, that casino, or that sports book. And eventually I looked into it, and I couldn't believe what I saw. There was just hundreds of sports books. I signed up that very night because I wanted to take advantage of the Match Play Golf Championship. And if you follow golf at all, this is the annual competition where they'll pit the number one seed against the 64 seed, and they'll battle it out. And I knew there had to be value in underdogs because that old cliche, any player can beat any other player on any given Sunday. Well, it doesn't apply to golf exactly, but I knew there was value. I jumped on and had success pretty quickly. That weekend, I think I sent in $1,000 on my credit card. I mean, I didn't have much to start with. And by the end of the weekend, I was up to $2,000. I mean, it doesn't sound like much, but this was the best sports betting week of my life. So I continued on, and I found one play that just really set me to high heights. The field bet in golf. When Tiger's listed to win a tournament, he'll be, let's say, 8-1, or in the past, of course, that doesn't apply now. But they also had a second column where you could bet at reduced odds whether he will place in the top four, and that was reduced by four times. So you got 2-1 for him to place in the field. So I looked at the sheet and I saw that they had the field play, which is everybody else not listed. They would have 30 guys listed. And by betting the field, you're taking everyone else. So to win, you could bet 4-1 on the field, but they also had that place wager where if anyone in the field finished in the top four, you would win even money. And I did some calculations, and I figured that I had about a 95% chance of winning that bet. I mean, if you're listing 30 golfers, what are the odds that those 30 will finish top four? There's always going to be somebody else. So I knew it was just a gigantic opportunity. So I spent, the next days and weeks at Western Union outlets sending all the money I could to these offshore sports books. And sure enough, I was off and running in no time. And undefeated, I think I played it probably 2 or 3 months before they eventually stopped offering it. So that's how I got my start, pretty much on one play, and I was off and running from there.
It's a great story that you set out in your book. I mean, and I'm curious, what was the inspiration for writing the book, 2020 Sports Betting Think Like a Pro? I mean, who did you want to reach with this book?
Primarily recreational bettors that I figured I could provide some insight that might make their betting more enjoyable. It's not going to be for the guys building models, the sharpest of the sharp. They might find a couple tidbits here and there, but mostly I'm reaching out to recreational gamblers and to teach them how to up their game. It's not like other books where I'm going to go over what's the value. Should I take the 3? Should I take the 3.5 at -130? Not a lot of discussion there. I'm pretty much specifically addressing actual bets that I made and the thought process behind it, which is the title of the book, Think Like a Pro. I want to inform the readers of how you can be successful at this.
I want to jump right into the book. And since we are approaching the Super Bowl, is that the most popular sport to bet on? I mean, regardless of if you're a professional sports bettor or a recreational bettor, is football king in terms of betting?
Football is king. It's always been king. The limits are higher. The opportunities, we're talking hundreds of prop plays, opportunities for college and NFL pros, the NFL. And it's just unbelievable opportunities. You could look, you might see 100 props offered for every game in the NFL, and you might find 3 or 4 plays that I determine that there's value there. So it doesn't sound like much, but when you're talking a 16-game slate, all of a sudden you got 50 live wagers going. So it's very high dollar. It's always going to be football. Golf is up and coming. Believe it or not, last January, looking at the NFL, the totals, they were maybe 5,000 early Sunday morning, and they had run-of-the-mill fourth-round golf matchups with limits of double that, of 10,000. It's just unbelievable. So if you're interested in golf, in the old days, it was trouble getting action down. The places just didn't want to take enough, but it's really up and coming. I guess fantasy sports had a lot to do with that, with their huge prize funds for their contests. But I'm just amazed at what I see in the limits of golf. So NFL is king. Golf, for me personally, is a close second.
I'm glad you mentioned the type of bets you like to place on football in your book. I mean, what types of bets are the most successful for you in football, and what is your philosophy when thinking about a football game?
Okay, my philosophy, am I going to tell you who's going to win the game? No chance. I rely specifically on the numbers. I'll take the numbers. I have a massive database that you have to pay for, or some guys might be talented enough to run their own, but I pay for all my data. And the type of plays I'm looking for are, will take a game with 3 and a total of 45 in that typical NFL game. I'm going to be able to tell you within the penny what are the odds of a team scoring in the last 2 minutes. Who's going to score first? Will the first score be a TD or field goal? Those are the kind of plays that I hone in on. And like I said, they're going to make mistakes, or other bettors are going to make mistakes that are going to drive lines into territory where you can take advantage. But the lines are sharp. You're not going to be running down the list, making plays left and right. You got to search for them. So Saturday and Sunday mornings, they're very busy because of all the wealth of offerings to look at, to evaluate. So those are the kind of plays. I do player props as well. Will Brady throw for 350 yards? But they've gotten very sharp over the years. It's tough to find value there. But mostly it's the number props, the time of the first score. Will there be a special teams touchdown? Those kind of plays.
Speaking of props, I love the section in the book about the Super Bowl props. I mean, being from New Jersey, every Super Bowl I go down to Atlantic City to the different books to really get the full experience of the Super Bowl. And one of the most popular bets down there, I mean, I have never bet on it because I always think it's just, 50-50, but I'm thinking differently now. One of the most popular bets is the coin flip. I mean, I'm bringing this up because in the book, you showed how you actually researched the coin flip, and you actually made money with a couple of parlays on the coin flip. I read the section. I said to my producer, Doug, you have to read this. He researched the coin flip. This is great. I mean, it's amazing. I think it's a phenomenal thing that you did. Can you explain how you went about winning the Super Bowl coin flip?
Okay, well, it wasn't whether it's going to land on heads or tails, although I've heard some discussion there as well that the heads is heavily weighted, but I'm not going to get into that. That's a little too crazy for me. But what I did, there was a parlay offered. I figured out what the team, the visiting team, I believe it was, who was it now?
It was,
I can't even remember now.
Carolina, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Carolina. I got all their radio broadcasts. They had the same guy calling it, Julius Peppers, I believe it was. He called heads every single week. And I knew that there shouldn't be anything different. He was strictly a heads guy. Actually, yes. Or was it tails that he called? Well, whatever. But I knew that, so I could couple that. What will the swing cost be, and who will win the toss? So I knew with Peppers calling that heads and Carolina wins the toss would be a good 2-team parlay, and sure enough, it did come down that way. And then you could also take the adverse. You could take tails and whoever they were playing and go that way. So I had tons of parlays. I would put those two on all the parlays because I was limited to what I could do on any specific bet. So it just came down to figuring out what the actual call of the coin would be. I haven't seen that offered lately. I look eagerly each year for a chance to do this again, but sadly, haven't seen it offered in recent years.
One of the great things about betting Super Bowl props is now that has that one thought in my head from your book. And you said, I wrote it down, and you should probably make T-shirts out of it. We'll sell it in Atlantic City and Vegas. You said for Super Bowl props, take yes and over for fun, no and under to make money. What do you mean by that? And I think it's such a great saying.
The public basically likes to bet for things to happen. They want to see Brady throw for 400 yards. They want a running back to rush for 2 TDs. They want the premier defender to get the interception. So public money is always going on the yes for things to happen. It's no fun. The old stalwart no safety. I mean, you have to lay 1 to 8 odds. You have to put up 800 to win 100. That's just no fun. It's a terrible sweat. You're worried about the whole game when a team's inside their own 5. You're worried sick the whole game. And when's the last time you've seen guys celebrating winning a no safety bet? It just doesn't happen. It's not fun. But to make money, that's where the year after year, if you go unders and nos, for the no is will things happen, you're going to go no. It's far more lucrative because of the public's driving the prices up for things to happen.
Speaking of football, one of the things I'm seeing in the news a lot, and hearing a lot of commercials for it, and these are the Vegas football contests, which is a uniquely Vegas thing because we don't have them in New Jersey or Pennsylvania or anything like that. I know Superbook has one. I know Circa has a couple of them. And like I said, it's a uniquely Vegas kind of activity. How do you approach these contests, and are they worth it for recreational bettors to even get involved with?
Pretty much for fun, and I have a chapter in the book about the Super Contest, and you'll see that anyone can get the hot hand. It's not the professionals that are winning; it's the barista at Starbucks who won 2 years ago. It's very ordinary sports bettors who just happen to get the hot hand. So it's kind of like playing the lottery. And I looked at all the past winners and evaluated how have they done. Do these guys really have something special? Should we follow them? Should we pay them for their picks? Their records since winning, going back 10, 15 years, I looked at all the winners, very pedestrian. And I always say beating the NFL is a tough slog. I mean, next to impossible. Maybe there's a select few that can do it. As far as the contest goes, my approach, I'm taking a contrarian approach. I'm going to go with teams that other people. There's a lot of squares in this contest. It costs $1,000. You might think that that's going to be more conducive to professional action, but it's mostly recreational bettors. And recreational bettors like the hot hands. They like the favorites. So I'm going the rest, figuring if I can even now every 3 weeks there's a prize. So if I can get a hot 3 weeks taking teams that other people aren't taking, then I could win one of the 3 week prizes, the 6 week prizes, or I could go the whole season and land in the money. So I'm really going. I don't want to take teams that other people are on.
How do you approach baseball betting? I know you made a point of it in the book, saying the key to finding value bets is based on the large number of games and building or buying a huge database. How does a bettor use those aspects of the game to find value bets?
The advantage about baseball, there's so many games. I think there's over 2,000 a season. So my database is 20 years old. I can tell you exactly, if you give me an over-under of 7.5, I can come within a penny or two of telling you or showing you what the odds are for a run in the first inning. It's not rocket science. You just take all the games, the thousands of games, with an over-under of 7.5, and you're going to come up with a really accurate number. And as I display in the book, or I discuss in the book, that on an NFL Sunday, come baseball playoff time, there were odds on the run in the first inning that were just way out of whack. There's value sitting there all day in the Vegas sports books on a Sunday. Everybody's focusing on the NFL, and there's value just staring at you. So those are the kind of plays that I focus in on, the plays that other people aren't paying attention, because the plays that people are paying attention, the NFL sides and totals, it's going to be really difficult to beat that long term. So baseball props are one of the ways that I can win long term.
You know, I am so glad you brought up the scoring in the first inning bet, because I read it in your book. I tried it last weekend during the Diamondbacks-Philly game, and I also tried it during the Rays-Oriole game, and I won both bets, so I want to thank you for that. So,
oh, great. Did you use the specific numbers that I had in the book, or did you come up with your own?
I actually followed what was in your book. And, I looked at the different matchups, and, and it really, really worked. And I was quite frankly shocked that it did, but it was like a revelation to me. So, can you explain that a little more for the people out there? How should a bettor approach placing a bet on whether there will be a score in the first inning?
Okay. I have my database. It's tough to start from scratch. Yeah. So, you're probably going to have to pay for that. But if you're serious about getting into this, I'll look at the total. I'll see that, let's say it's 7.5 for a Major League Baseball game. You can find, and I'll throw in the run line as well. Say it's minus 150 for the home team. I can find in my database 500 games with that exact scenario. So if you run the numbers, you can figure out exactly what the odds are that there will be a run in the first inning. Let's say it's 260 times there was one scored and 240 times there was not one scored. That means the odds are roughly going to be minus 110 on the yes. And with an over-under 7.5, that's pretty low. You're going to have some studs on the mound, and once again, the public enters and they're thinking, "Oh, this is easy money with those two guys. There's not going to be a run in the first inning," so it drives up the prices. So for as I mentioned, it should be minus 110 for the yes. There should be a run scored in the first inning. I'll see odds of plus 120, plus 130. It just gets wild, crazy, especially right before the first pitch. So once again, it's the public driving up prices, and which creates value for the astute bettor that's done his homework and knows exactly what the line should be. So basically, it's just using past data to predict what's going to happen in a specific game.
One of the great things about your book is that you say you should look at the soft sports to bet on. I mean, those sports you classified as auto racing, tennis, soccer, boxing, and hockey. Why do you feel that there's a lot of money that can be made through those sports?
Basically, there's less interest, although tennis, that's getting a lot of sharp action lately. Just basically where the big money, where the sharp action is, there's not going to be a lot of value there. These are lower limit sports, and it's just a way to make money with lower limits. I'm not one that's going to have a $10,000 wagered on a football game, but I may have 100 bets with 200 maxes. So, it comes out the same. You're not going to have the big highs and the lows. But so lower limits equal, but a high volume. So that's pretty much how I get it done. Tennis, you mentioned. I do some tennis over-unders with sets. And once again, I have a database there as well. So I'm very seldom am I making a bet because I think something's going to happen. I could show you why I'm making the bet based on historical information. If you got a big serving guy like John Isner, what are the odds that his match is going to go over 25.5 games? Things like that. I can show you with data why I'm making the plays I do. Very little intuition goes into what I'm doing.
You know, speaking of soft sports, I'm always astounded at how anyone makes money off of table tennis, but I know they love it in Colorado, so good for them. If you make money off it, great. But
Right.
I'm interested. You mentioned hockey as one of the soft sports, and you know, here in New Jersey, I'm constantly getting promos for the Philadelphia Flyers, Jersey Devils, New York Rangers, New York Islanders. The fact that sports books are really paying attention to these sports in the form of promos, is it harder to find value bets when sports books really concentrate on sports like that, the soft sports as you call them?
I believe because if there's enough focus, suddenly that soft sport turns into something a little more harder. Once again, as far as winners and losers in hockey games, I don't have a clue, but what I focus on is what team will score first. What are the odds that a game will have the winner will have 3 goals? Will there be overtime? Scoring in the first 10 minutes. So those are the kind of props that I look at. They're still soft because, once again, limits are low and the sharp action is not going to gravitate towards these kind of plays. I should also mention that the challenge, somebody said years ago, the winning the money is not the hard part. It's staying under the radar. A lot of these books, specifically, you could probably tell me more in Jersey. I'm hearing things that they're very quick to cut off winners.
Yep.
So you're going to have that problem. Half the battle, you got to stay under the radar. And once in a while, there are higher dollar plays that I'll make on a side or total, just to not only be a prop specialist, which is going to get their attention. So sometimes it's required to mix in some action, depending on the specific sports book. I mean, there's some books that will take on anything and everything, and you don't have to worry about that. But I understand that is a problem playing the props, especially in Jersey.
Well, I want to ask you about another challenge, in that sports betting is constantly changing. And one of the reasons is that sports are changing. I mean, in football, they moved the extra point back. There's a 2-point conversion. Kickoff returns are really a thing of the past. And now there's 17 games a year. In baseball, in extra innings, there's automatically a guy on second base that you have to figure out how the odds figure in with that. And just now, with regard to the NBA, I know books are now taking into consideration the idea of load management, making the season totals a little lower from what they have been. How are you as a sports bettor adapting to these changes, and how can you follow the trends when, you know, things are changing that quickly?
Boy, Dave, you really hit on something with this baseball extra innings. I heard a month ago they weren't going to continue it for next year by putting the guy on second base to start the extra innings. But these are the kind of things that come up and you can make some money. I looked at that extensively. I've been monitoring it all season. When you put a guy on second base, believe it or not, in the top of the 10th, some teams are trying to bunt him over to third base. I mean, Bill James proved that years ago that bunting is but there's still some stubborn old school coaches that continue to play this kind of baseball where you're trying desperately to get the guy over to third, and yet it's kind of like a cheap run because the home team's going to come up with a guy on second anyway. The real run, you want to score 2 runs in the top of the 10th. That's what you want to do. I mean, it's great if you just score 1, but it's cheapened, and now they're still bunting. This is old school, so I'm focusing on the managers that will do this game after game, and this is one of the ways that you can win off of baseball. These rule changes. You mentioned the constantly evolving, changing landscape this year with the NFL and COVID. Who knows what's going to happen with these season. They've said that last year they got in all the games, but this year they said there's going to be forfeits. If they can't fit them into their 18-week schedule, teams are going to forfeit games. I think, to me, this says that everything will gravitate towards the middle on season totals. If you got a team with like one team, who did I see that has 4? Their over-under is 4. I believe it's Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you have other teams on the other end of the spectrum that are at 12. I think Tampa's at 11.5. Kansas City 12.5. When you throw in the intangible of potential COVID-related forfeits, this throws everything out of whack. So I'm thinking overs on the lower the teams with lower win totals and under on the teams with higher win totals. So it's constantly changing. The extra point you mentioned as well, the lack of kickoffs, that I discussed that in the book as well, that you've seen a sharp decline in special teams touchdowns. And I think the books are finally catching up, but for a year or two, that was very lucrative. You just take no, because you're eliminating 10 to 15 touchdowns a year on kickoff returns, and there's only 256 games, so that's significant. So these are the kind of things, anytime you see a rule change, if you have analyzed it correctly, you can find value and props that you would basically ignore in the past.
Now, in terms of betting, you said that golf is your favorite sport, and the section on golf betting is so good in 2020 Sports Betting Think Like a Pro. It's a fascinating read. What is it about golf that makes you a successful bettor in that sport?
Okay. Years ago, I would look at the board, I would analyze, I would do the old school method of looking at course form, current form. That has gotten a lot more difficult. There's way more sharp action than there was 10 years ago, and the lines are very tough. It's almost getting to be like the NFL. The lines are really sharp, and you're talking a 30% spread. It is tough to beat, but that's not saying there are not opportunities that come up. I talk a lot about golf injuries in the book. When you talk about the NFL, Tom Brady, he didn't practice on Friday. There's a flurry of activity. The line moves, and he's one guy on the 50-man roster. On golf, when you have an injury, he's the whole roster. I mean, that's it. And if you find out a golf is injured, he's not going to play most of the time. They always say the old cliche, beware of the injured golfer, but that's pretty much just a cliche. I haven't found that to be accurate in real life. I mentioned in the book, I read the night before the British Open starting, and there was a golfer, Chris Wood, who was crying in tears because of a neck injury. And when I'm handicapping a golf match and I see that one of the combatants is in tears the night before he tees off, that's a green light special to me. I think that can go for any sport. I mean, anytime you got guys crying, that can't be good. So I jumped on Chris Wood for all that I could. I mean, I didn't even know much about him. The only thing I knew about him is he was a tall, skinny guy. He's like 6'6". But other than that, I saw the tears, and I faded him big time. And believe it or not, the next day he played 12 holes and then dropped out. Mm-hmm. And it's not like tennis where the match has got to go the duration. In golf, you hit one shot and you drop. The other side's a winner. So those are the kind of things that I focus on. I'm getting away from trying to analyze because I haven't been real successful doing it old school and handicapping the matches in recent years. So now I'm kind of going after the low-hanging fruit. I'm spending time looking at the fantasy sites for information on golfers that may be injured or not at 100%. And what I really need, what would be great is to have a guy on site, like a caddy or something. Can you imagine the information you could get from one of those guys? I think the PGA Tour would probably frown upon it, but man, that's on my to-do list. Is if I could get a contact and say, "Oh, this guy's spraying the ball, he's rubbing his neck," it would just be. And with the limits so high now, a guy can dream.
In your book, you give incredible stories about how you bet on golf. And I think the great thing about the stories that you tell in the book is we get to look inside your thought process, which is very valuable for new bettors out there. Certainly injuries are important. Are there other things that new bettors should be looking for golf tournaments to get an edge? Or is weather important? I know you mentioned weather a lot, too. What are the things that new bettors should be looking at when they want to make an educated bet on golf?
Weather. There's also early, late tee times. I look at so many weather reports, and 99% I'm not finding anything there. But on a European event just 3 weeks ago, it was played in Scotland. When you play in Scotland, the weather is very fickle, and I found a big advantage for a guy playing early on Thursday and late on Friday. The bad weather was Thursday afternoon, and I think I went like 13-2 playing this. So there's opportunities. It's worth it. So weather can be a big advantage. Most of the time, it's a waste of time. But there are opportunities, specifically in the Scotland events, and once in a while, even in the U.S., you'll find sizable advantages. And but mostly the British Open, you'll hear guys moaning every year, "Oh, I was on the wrong side of the draw." And if you get that early enough, you can take advantage of it.
Now, I just spoke with the head of gambling of the PGA Tour, Scott Warfield, and I know golf is making a big push to increase betting on the sport. As a gambler, is that good news for you, or do you think that since the PGA is going to be paying more attention to sports betting, it will be more difficult for you to find value bets on the sport?
I think probably it will be good, because the more money you put into the sport, the more the operators are looking to find unique offerings, and that's what I'm looking for, those unique offerings. I should mention the prop markets in golf. I find a lot of value there as well. Once again, lower limits, but lots of value. So I think the more eyes, the more attractive it becomes for people, the more marketing they do to get people involved in golf betting. I think it can only be helpful to me in the long run.
You know, I want to ask you about price shopping, because that's a big issue here in New Jersey. I mean, we have 20 online sports books, and I'm a 10-minute drive from Pennsylvania, so they have another 13 online sports books as well, and I'm not even mentioning the retail books we have in the region. Is there an efficient way to price shop? Because it's getting a little overwhelming for people in New Jersey, and we haven't even had New York go online with their online sports betting yet. So that should be interesting too. But is there a quicker way to do that, or you just have to roll up your sleeves and just go find the best and analyze each one of these?
Well, I think it's critical. It's not for the prop betting that I do. Because I'm pretty much betting limits, because the limits are low. So it just, is it a good play or not for me? But there are times, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, where I'm going to make a high value play. I'm going to make a play on an NFL side for a couple thousand. Then the price shopping is just critical, especially for the long-term bottom line. Easier to do it online and with the mobile accounts. I don't know if there's any site that monitors all these, but it's definitely worth looking into. In Vegas, you can find several places that will list the 11 or 12 sports books and the odds for each one. So I don't know how far along they are in the Jersey Philly market with that. But definitely worth looking into, because, as you pointed out, price shopping is just critical. You got to get the best number you can.
Now, when you started sports betting, you dealt primarily with offshore sites, and you told a horror story about one offshore site about losing money or something happened to your account. With sports betting spreading across the U.S. with state-regulated sites, has it become better for online bettors in terms of security of online accounts?
I believe so. I mean, when you're dealing with outfits in Costa Rica, a whole different set of laws. So I haven't heard of any. I've heard of some kind of unscrupulous activities with sports books and predatory and holding up withdrawals. But I think in the U.S. you're protected and can feel pretty relaxed that you're going to get a fair shake. So I think anything in the domestically is going to be far more secure. But even offshore now, I still have accounts. I still play offshore. I haven't had a problem in years because it's consolidated enough. The little guys have been eaten up by the bigger ones, and I feel very, very secure with the handful of books I'm playing at.
Now, your book, 2020 Sports Betting, Think Like a Pro, is very complete. I mean, you talk about strategies even for blackjack, lottery, you even talk about Jeopardy. We don't have a lot of time left, but I want to ask you about the lottery because it seems like everyone plays the lottery. Give people some tips that you set out in the book that they should know about when they're playing the lottery.
Okay. I don't want people to think that buying my book is going to make them be able to beat the lottery. I'm a little concerned about that. I'm getting angry emails. But as I said, there's some value in dreams, and the lottery is a dream. I can tell you how to improve your odds. I'm not going to tell you how to beat the lottery, but in pari-mutuels where you're picking your own numbers and the payouts are arrived at by the number of winners, you can be kind of like a contrarian strategy. With the lotto going up to, let's say, 56 numbers, stay away from numbers 1 through 30 because they're calendar numbers. You're going to pick the days. You're going to pick your kids' ages. You're going to pick their birthday days. And I show in the book with proof that when you have a pari-mutuel, when you pick higher numbers, your payout's going to be greater. You pick all the low numbers. Let's say you win 5 out of 6. I showed in the book your payout might be 500. If you win 5 out of 6 picking higher numbers, your payout may be 12, 1300. It's a substantial difference. So I provide a few tips in the book as to how, when you do win, you're going to get a greater piece of the pie. As far as a lot of those, keep in mind, are set values, but these are for pari-mutuels, and there still are plenty of those around. So high numbers, good. Low numbers, bad.
In your book, you said we could be entering a golden age of sports betting. What do you think that means for the established sports bettor, and what does that mean for people who are just getting into sports betting right now?
Well, you mentioned, Dave, there's 33 books within Jersey and Philly. I mean, and they're going to be scratching and clawing for all the action they can get, and I believe that offering unique wagers is one of the ways they will do that. And when you have 33 in that area there, 33 operators, you're going to have some of the lines makers that aren't going to be as sharp as the other ones, and you're going to see lines posted that can be exploited. So I think the more that you have, and the more I'm in California, I'm anxiously waiting 2022. Supposedly next year we're going to get it out here, but I think the more books that come onto the market, the more opportunities there's going to be. Specifically with high competition, they're going to make mistakes.
Logan, we don't have a lot of time, but can you tell people how to get a copy of 2020 Sports Betting, Think Like a Pro?
Yes, great. It is on Amazon, and if you just put in the search field Logan Fields or 20/20 Sports Betting, I'm sure it'll come right up. It was published by Huntington Press, Anthony Curtis in Las Vegas, so you can get it, I believe, for a slightly cheaper price. I believe it's still selling for $20 on Huntington Press. And to reach me personally, I'm LoganFields49@gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter, LoganFields49.
Logan Fields, author of 2020 Sports Betting, Think Like a Pro. Thank you so much for coming on and telling us about the book. The information in the book will not only help new sports bettors, but I think it's a valuable read for people who have been betting for years. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us about it.
I appreciate it, Dave. It's been a pleasure, and thank you very much for your enthusiastic support for it.
Absolutely.
Thanks again.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited.
They do not give up until you pay.
They put a lien on my house.
How about you? Do you owe back taxes? Call Tax Solutions now and get some help. For a limited time, the IRS offers a tax forgiveness program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Our team can make it easier for you to pay back taxes, avoid tax liens, and get a fresh start. Sometimes you just need a second chance.
I call Tax Solutions now, and they got the IRS off my back.
At Tax Solutions Now, our affiliates are all accredited by the Better Business Bureau and members of the National Association of Tax Professionals.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now. Call 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132.
Is your bathroom looking old and worn out? Want to update it, but you don't know where to start? Then let BCI Bath & Shower show you how to turn that old bath into an aisle of beauty and functionality. Our residential bathroom solutions provide the best value on the market, and our customer service is second to none. Our cost-effective BCI Bath & Shower family of products has what you need.
Remodeling our bathroom was a big decision for us.
They didn't make a mess out of our house at all. And at the end of the day, we had a beautiful new bathroom. And it was a great experience the whole way through.
We have the best monthly payment programs in the industry, with payments as low as $68 per month or no interest, no payments for 18 months. That's right. Get the bathroom of your dreams now and pay for it in 2021. Call 1-800-308-8291 for a free no-obligation price quote. That's 1-800-308-8291. When you want quality bathroom products at a great price, it's got to be BCI Bath & Shower. That's 1-800-308-8291.
Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff that will spice up your bedroom is even better. Just go to adamandeve.com and select almost any one item for 50% off, and then we'll load on the free stuff. Just enter this very exclusive code, BABE16 at checkout, and you'll get 10 tantalizing free gifts, including a sexy item for him, a special toy for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy. And 6 extra special bonus items that are sure to rev your engine, pique your curiosity, and even blow you away. Plus,
free shipping!
Always sent in discreet packaging. Go to adamandeve.com now. Get 50% off plus the 10 free gifts when you enter the exclusive offer code BABE16. That's BABE16, because without it, no free stuff. That's BABE16 at adamandeve.com.
It's a casino. People gotta win sometime.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a giant, colorful check to deposit.
Beatin The House is brought to you by BetMGM Casino. Play your favorite casino games at BetMGM Online Casino. Slots, table games, live dealer games, everything you love about Atlantic City and Vegas, all online at BetMGM. Don't wait. Join in the fun now. Go to BetMGM Casino, create an account using our promo code Turnpike, and become a verified player. New players get $25 free when signing up, plus a first deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code Turnpike at BetMGM.com for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus $25 free. Grab a lion's share of the fun at BetMGM.com. Must be 21 years or older to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's Beatin the House segment, where we're going to be talking about the slot jackpots, the Keno jackpots, lottery jackpots, Pi-Gal progressive jackpots. We seem to be having a lot of those lately.
Why are there so many Pi-Gal jackpots lately?
I don't know.
I just started playing that, too. I said it a couple of weeks ago.
Maybe because you started playing
it. Yeah,
maybe.
Everyone's catching the Pi-Gal fever. Yeah, all right.
Well, anyway.
But, hey, I'm since we started doing this, I've been kind of keeping track of the jackpots you see in the news lately. It was a big week if you played Aristocrat gaming machines, huh? There's a couple of jackpots for Aristocrat.
Oh, they paid out a lot of money lately.
Yeah, almost like $2 million last week in two different casinos. Huh?
So,
See, I'm getting hip to the slot machines and things like that. It's not just poker for me. It's I'm kind of trying to follow the slot world.
Well, you have brought up Aristocrat, so we're going to start off with what we were going to start off to begin with anyway.
Oh, okay.
The Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. I think we've had a couple from this place over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, some loose slots. Huh?
On January 28th, I'm going to ignore that, a lucky Sunrise, Florida resident named Kari W. visited the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino Hollywood and won $1.33 million while playing Aristocrat Gaming's Dragon Link Progressive slot game. $250 bet, though.
Wow. Okay. I have never bet that much on a slot machine. Now, when you say a $250 bet, do you mean the bet was $250
Yes.
or her session was $250?
No, it was a $250 bet. I don't want to know what she did in the entire session.
Good for her.
But whatever she did, it paid off.
That's a gutsy move. $250.
I wonder if she was playing $250 a spin.
In a spin of the wheel, huh?
I couldn't do that. I just couldn't pull the trigger on that one.
Good for her.
But the Dragon Link $1 million progressive jackpot can be found at the Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, Florida, the Seminole Hard Rock in Tampa, and the Seminole Coconut Creek casinos. So it covers all three of those casino properties.
Okay. And where'd she get hers at?
She was at the Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood.
Okay.
According to the casino, this is the fourth $1 million jackpot to hit on the Dragon Link slot game at Seminole Gaming in less than 60 days. So they've had 4 $1 million jackpots within 60 days at all three of those properties.
Wow. Okay.
So they are actually paying out very well with those slot machines there, especially that specific one, the Dragon Link.
Dragon Link.
I have to take a look at that one. I didn't take a look at it because there's just so many this week. I just was piling them up, and I'll have to take a look at it.
I got to check on the online casinos here in Jersey because a lot of the online casinos, you can search by game manufacturer. You know, when you want a certain slot machine in the online casinos, you can go by Aristocrat, and they have all the list of their games, or IGT, and they have the list of their games and things like that. So I have to check for Aristocrat's Dragon Link, right?
Well, we're moving from Hollywood, Florida to Tucson, Arizona.
And this is the second Aristocrat $1 million jackpot, right?
Nope. This is a
this is a $500,000.
This is the Desert Diamond Casino Tucson.
Okay.
One of their lucky customers hit $560,000 jackpot.
Still pretty good.
Playing the Buffalo Diamond slot machine from Aristocrat Gaming,
well,
one of their Buffalo brands.
Okay, are they the famous Buffalo things I see all the time?
The Buffalo Diamond is one of the newer ones.
Okay,
but yeah, the Buffalo games are the
so
Aristocrat.
Big week for jackpots for Aristocrat Gaming. Huh?
So we now have a $1.33 million and a $560,000. I think probably both of them are very happy, but I think both of them would probably want that $1.33 million more so than that $560. Staying over in the West Coast, we're going to hit a couple quick ones here. South Point Casino in Las Vegas. One Las Vegas local hit $113,975 jackpot on a Pi Gal Progressive win at the South Point.
Okay.
Unidentified local. They kept him anonymous at his request, or her request, I should say. And they also won an additional $5,000 on the Dragon bonus.
Wow.
That's one of their progressive side bets.
See, I'm not that far along in my Pi Gal progression here. So I got to work on my Pi Gal.
Staying in Vegas, we have the Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Another gambler has cashed out for a $111,000 jackpot on Blazing 7 Diamonds.
I have no idea what that is.
That is one of the older style real jackpots. Caesars Rewards member. I think Blazing 7 Diamonds might be either a WMS or an IGT. I have to take a look, but you know, it's one of the classic games.
Okay.
Every casino just about has that.
All right.
Staying in Nevada, but not Vegas, we're going to Henderson. The Rainbow Club Casino. I don't think we've ever had anything from the Rainbow Club Casino before.
Have we had anything from Henderson before?
We probably have.
I have to go back and look. From Reno. I don't think we had anything from Henderson yet.
Well, Pamela of Henderson.
Pamela of Henderson.
That's what the press release said.
Sounds like royalty.
And it was a one-line press release. Pamela of Henderson won $40,093 playing the triple-double diamond machine at the Rainbow Club Casino.
Congratulations, Pamela of Henderson.
So, yeah, it's like a King Arthur type of appellation there. Going cross-country to Atlantic City.
All right, hometown.
We got 2 brick-and-mortar jackpots. Hard Rock Casino, both of them. $138,404 jackpot on January 30th with somebody playing the Bally Lock-It Link Huff and Puff slot machine.
I have never heard that before.
The Huff and Puff. And you want to take a guess on this?
Huff and Puff. Yeah. Is it a dragon type of thing, or
3 little pigs?
Oh, okay.
I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down.
All right.
And that's what happens in this. When you hit a certain feature, the big bad wolf comes in and blows you a jackpot.
All right.
$138,000 jackpot on January 30th. No word on the gender of the bettor and no word on what the bet actually was.
Okay, Huff and Puff, huh?
And then we had on January 24th, again at the Hard Rock, playing the Bally Piggy Bankin' Lock-It Link.
Is there like a pig theme to all their slots? Was a Huff and Puff, 3 little pigs, and the piggy banking? Is that what that was?
We've actually talked about this game in the past.
Piggy banking?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
Because this one has a feature where a certain symbol pops up on the screen. I don't know whether it's the piggy bank or other things that create the piggy bank on the big screen, but as the bonus features move ahead, the piggy bank grows and grows and grows until it explodes.
Okay.
And money comes out of it on the screen.
Okay.
So you have a blowing up pig on the piggy banking.
Be fun to see, huh? All right.
Hopefully it's not too gruesome.
Yeah. Well,
it's just,
sure,
chips
it's
coming
coins
out.
everywhere.
We're going to go from table games and slots to some sports betting now.
Okay.
And this actually caused a couple ruffles here, but I think this is kosher. I don't see the problem with this really, but FanDuel, online in Connecticut, a 29,000 to 1 long shot bet was hit. It was the correct score, correct winner parlay.
I saw this, yeah.
Of the championship games.
A lot of people tweeted this, the actual card or ticket.
$20 site credit.
Yeah. Okay, so they didn't pay any of their own money.
Nope,
it's a site credit.
Exactly. They got the scores right, and they got the winners right of the 2 championship games. So that paid out, a $20 site credit bet paid out $579,000.
Wow. Great.
With some change.
Yeah.
The question happened was, the person touting the win was a teenager on social media. And people were wondering whether or not the teenager actually placed the bet. FanDuel checked it out and confirmed that the account was owned by an adult.
Good.
Whether or not, the next step is, did the kid actually use the account, whatever. But according to FanDuel, they checked it, they confirmed it, it's an adult account.
Okay.
They handed it out. And according to FanDuel, they paid out 3 bettors with this same parlay. Total of $800,000 paid out for 3 bettors. Nothing would like the $579,000 bet.
No, I guess
so.
Not.
I think you split the other was it $220,000? There was 2 other bets that split that. However, I don't know what the other bets were. They didn't say what the bet sizes were.
That might be worth something, for the Super Bowl, putting some money on the actual score of the game.
I've never been good at that one. I've tried that in the past.
I might try it.
Not on the Super Bowl, but in games.
After hearing this thing, I might try it.
It'd be good to do the actual score and probably an over-under with it.
Yeah.
Or even the spread. I don't know, depending on what you want to do with it. But, congratulations there. And we have 2 Virginia Lottery Online jackpots to hit. We have one, a player by the name of Glenn Miller of Blacksburg.
Glenn Miller,
Lovely band.
Yeah, great band.
He was sitting in his car in a parking lot, scratching a Virginia Lottery ticket, and won $777,777.
Wow.
Doing nothing but sitting in the parking lot doing his scratcher.
Well, how much was the scratch ticket? Some of those scratch tickets are pretty expensive.
This did not say what it was, but I believe this. I'm familiar with this game. It's a $10 ticket, I think. Yeah,
okay.
It's a $10 ticket. The odds of winning any prize in this game, it was let me get the name of it right, the Mega 777s ticket, which is why
makes sense. 777, yeah.
All the 7s in the winning number. So he got the top prize. It's the first top prize claimed in the game, and there are 2 more top prizes remaining unclaimed.
Oh, okay.
The odds of winning the top prize were 1 in $1,836,000.
Okay.
Now, the other lottery win from the Virginia Lottery was online. Guy was sitting in his house around 1 in the morning playing the Virginia Lottery's Prospector's Gold online game. He says he was just killing time. By the time the early morning session had ended, he had won $169,619 playing Prospector's Gold. I actually took a look at this. It kind of looks like a really fun game to play by the Virginia Lottery. A couple of the other online lotteries have it, but it looks like a really fun game to play. And judging by the fact that this guy spent early morning hours continually playing it,
he won $169,000. Well, it's really fun to play.
He didn't know it at the time, so obviously he was just enthralled with the game.
Okay,
I don't know how else to put that, but he won $169,619. No word on how much he was betting on the thing in terms of whether he had increased the size of what he was paying to play per spin or whatever. So, but again, check that out. It's a good game. It's actually kind of a fun game. Congratulations to all our winners. Please, casinos, lotteries, sportsbook, keep your press releases coming in. Info at turnpikesportsradio.com. We love doing this segment. It's so much fun, and Dave is constantly learning about new slot machines.
Yeah, look, I write down the slot names. I mean, we live in a state where they have online slot machines, so all these slot machines are potentially in our living rooms right now, or on our cell phones, or wherever you play your online games, and they pay out. What the hell? Stick around, because our Super Bowl picks and our prop bets probably are coming up next. So. Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports. With some of the best promotions and offers in the sports betting market, PointsBet simply stands out. PointsBet is the only U.S. online bookmaker to offer points betting, where every yard, every point, every goal, even every play matters. Same-game parlays, good karma payouts, early payouts, and exclusive game day promotions and guarantees for all sports. PointsBet offers more bet types than any other bookmaker in the world, offering a unique set of markets that aren't available anywhere else. And now PointsBet is offering one of the best sign-up offers in the sports betting market today. New customers signing up with code BET21 receive 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Get up to $500 back if your first fixed odds bet loses, and up to $1,500 if your first points betting bet loses. That's code BET21 for 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000 at PointsBet. PointsBet. It pays to be fast. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. This week's Turnpike Sports Pro Football Pick segment is brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook, now live in New York. Caesars Sportsbook is the only sportsbook app with Caesars Rewards. Redeem rewards credits for bonuses, sports tickets, dining, getaways, and VIP experiences, all by playing on Caesars Sportsbook. Sign up with Caesars Sportsbook using our bonus code PIKERF to receive a first deposit match up to $1,500 with your first deposit of $50 or more. That's promo code PIKERF for a $1,500 first deposit match with your first deposit of $50 or more at Caesars Sportsbook. Bet like a Caesar with Caesars Sportsbook. Must be at least 21 years or old to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. New customers only. Problem gambler. Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to the Super Bowl Pro Pick segment of Turnpike Sports. This is our last football picking segment of the season, obviously. Normally what we do for this segment, we do throughout the season, we were doing 3 games each, spreads and totals, given the fact there's only one game. And we actually do something a little different here, because also the fun part about the Super Bowl are the prop bets. What we're going to be doing this week, we're both going to be picking the the spread, and also the total points. And also, we're each going to do 3 prop bets for the game.
I got to tell you, I'm more excited about my prop bets than my pick for the football game. Well, I guess that's the way it is with most bettors. And, I talked to a lot of professional bettors, and they said, really, the props are where you're going to make your money in the Super Bowl. So, we'll do the spread of the Super Bowl. We'll do the total. But I got 3 props. And you know what?
So do I.
Really, I hate to see slam dunk for the props. 2, I'm very, very excited about. 1 was the number was just astronomical, and I wanted to try it out, throw a little money on that.
Well, I approached the props a little differently, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
All right.
But let's see, season to date so far, because I've been keeping totals of all this. Last week, the last time we did this segment was the championship week. We both went 1-1 on that.
Yep.
Season to date, I am at 28, 33, and 1. I have totally just dropped off the map.
You were leading the entire season
up until the last 2 weeks. Yes.
Oh wow! Okay,
you are in the lead by about 5.5 games here. 33, 26, and 3 is your season to date.
Okay.
Again, we're going to be doing. It's just one game, so we have to just take a look and make as many bets as possible.
Now,
if I go 5-0 here, I have a shot at tying you.
I was going to say, do our prop bets count?
Yes.
Toward our? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, a little extra.
Got to make it a little.
There,
yeah.
huh? Okay.
And I have to admit, also Super Bowl. I'm always disappointed in the game.
Yeah, always.
It's never a fun game. Although I have to admit, the Eli Manning Patriot games. Well, let's just get right into it. Since you are in the lead, I will give you the honor of going first.
Oh, okay. So, we all know what the game is. The Los Angeles Rams, they're favored by 4.5 points versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
Before we continue, let people know we are doing this on a Sunday a week before the game. The odds are going to change.
I don't know. They haven't changed too much. I know
they opened up at 3.5.
3.5, but they've been pretty steady.
I've seen a couple 5s.
Okay. Well, let me start again. This is from Caesars Sportsbook, by the way. The Los Angeles Rams, who are 4.5 point favorites, versus Cincinnati Bengals with a total of 48.5 points. I've been very impressed with Cincinnati Bengals, and certainly with Joe Burrow, who's cool, calm, and collected, and that's how he's going to have to be against, I think, a much more talented Los Angeles Rams team. Look, for value, I'm going with the Bengals. I mean, I think that's the best bet here. They might not win the game, but they'll certainly keep it close, and I think whoever wins this game is going to win by a field goal. And also, I mean, I know we're going to take the total. I'm also taking the under in this game. Super Bowls are rarely shootouts. Like you said, you're kind of disappointed in these games. But they're rarely shootouts, and I don't think this one's going to be a shootout. I think the first quarter or quarter and a half, the teams are going to be really working out some nerves because they always do. So, and that's probably going to keep the score down for at least for the early part of the game. So I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm also taking the under.
All right, we got a little difference already.
Good.
I went with the Bengals plus 4.5. I just love the way they're playing, and also they're going into the Super Bowl 7-0 against the spread in their last 7 games.
You like that?
I just don't think it's going to be more than 4 points. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. And quite honestly, I like both these teams, so I win either way. I'm going with the Bengals plus 4.5. I'd love to see Stafford win his first Super Bowl. But again, the Bengals breaking that little slump there.
You can have both. He could win. He could win by a field goal, and you still collect on.
But
here's
where we differ.
Okay,
I'm going the over 48.5.
See, I think the first half is going to be really low.
I think, judging by the way these teams have played all season, as good as the Bengals defense is, and I love the Bengals defense, and I also like the Rams defense to a certain extent. Both these teams have the tendency to start off slow. Their offenses can actually get off the mark really, really quick, dynamic, great receivers, quarterbacks that can read defenses really, really well. I actually think you're going to see more offensive output in the first half than you are the second half, I think.
I'm exactly the opposite.
But I really think it's going to be over 48.5. I think you may even see like a 28-24 game maybe this time.
See, I'm thinking 24-21 kind of thing.
I'm just thinking you're going to see a little extra oomph here because both these offenses are really good. The Bengals play all out every single game, but their defense takes a while. Their defense was bad in the championship game until the second half. Mm-hmm. They gave up 21 points in the first half. So I'm thinking the Rams have a much better offense. Maybe we'll see something like that as well. And, that's what's going to happen here. But again, Cincinnati plus 4.5 and the over 48.5 for me. So let's do some props.
Okay. I'm going to start with the prop bet that I'm most confident in, that I feel best about. Will there be a successful 2-point conversion? I'm going with yes. I mean, just 2-point conversions are becoming more and more part of the game, and I certainly think these two teams are going to attempt a couple, especially if one's coming from behind. And the number with a yes is plus 240, and I think that's a great bet. So I think there will be a successful 2-point conversion.
Oh, my first one, longest field goal made.
Oh, okay.
Over under 47.5. And I'm going to focus on the one guy that's been making a difference in both team season, and that's the Bengals kicker, McPherson. He's got a total of 40 points total in the playoffs alone. And he's got 2 game-winning field goals. He's 12 for 12s in field goal attempts. He's hit 3 50 or more yard field goals, 52, 52, and 54. I think he's hitting a big one here. There's not much more analysis needed for a field goal kicker. I think he's hitting another long one at some point. I don't know if it's going to be a 50-yard, but I think it's going to be 48, 49. You may even see a 55-yarder out of this kid, but I'm going over 47.5.
All right, my next prop bet is I'm going with Joe Burrow for MVP. And now, this is an award that is usually given to the quarterback of the winning team, and I think Cincinnati Bengals have a great shot of winning the game outright. And I just love the number. You're getting a lot of value with Joe Burrow for MVP. It's plus 220. So, I'm going to throw a little money down on that.
My next one is total receiving yards for Odell Beckham Jr.
Interesting.
There's an over-under of 64.5 at Caesars. Given the way the Rams have utilized Odell Beckham and the way other teams have tried to neutralize Cooper Kupp, Beckham's become a viable outlet option for Stafford. He had a 100-yard game against the Niners, and it was actually taking him time all season. You could see him getting better and better all season, getting more acclimated since they picked him up to that offense. And I think what you're going to see here, the Bengals are going to try and clamp down on Kupp because he's the guy that can really beat you. I think you're going to see Odell Beckham actually getting a lot of dump-offs, getting a lot of second option passes to him. I don't think you're going to see a 100-yard game out of him, but I think you're going to see more than 65 yards. So I went over 64.5.
Okay, here's my biggest long shot prop that I have. Player to commit the first turnover. I'm putting a little something on Cam Akers. Bit of a fumbling issue in the playoffs. Plus, he's coming into the game a little banged up. The big reason why I'm putting a little money on Cam Akers, plus 1,200. So, kind of like that bet. Put a little something on that.
My last prop bet, not flashy, but it's the team with more time of possession in the game. You got the Rams at minus 120, the Bengals at minus 110. The average time of possessions for these teams, the Bengals have had 30 minutes, 48 seconds. They were 10th in the league in terms of time of possession. The Rams for the season were 29.55 for 20th spot in regular season and also postseason. I think you're going to see the Bengals get out to probably a really good couple good drives here. They're going to do it. The Rams have the ability to score quicker than the Bengals, and I think that's why they have a lesser time of possession. I think you may see some quick scores by the Rams. I think they're just going to continue having less time of possession than their opponent here, so I went Bengals minus 110. Very basic one.
All right. So recap now. Do I do the whole shebang here? I'm picking the Cincinnati Bengals plus 4.5. I'm taking the under 48.5 points in the game. For my prop bets, I'm taking Joe Burrow for MVP at plus 220. Will there be a successful 2-point conversion? I'm saying yes at plus 240. And the first player to commit a first turnover, the player to commit the first turnover, I'm going with Cam Akers, who bit of a fumbling issue, little hurt going into the game, and more specifically, it's plus 1,200. So I'm putting a little something on that.
Well, for me, recapping game picks, Cincinnati plus 4.5, the over 48.5 prop bets, longest field goal made over 47.5 yards, Total receiving yards for Odell Beckham, over 64.5. And the team with more time of possession in the game, the Bengals at -110. And I think these are going to be kind of fun to watch. I've never actually bet on the time of possession in a game before.
No, never even looked at it.
So good luck with everybody doing your betting on the Super Bowl. Enjoy the game most of all.
Yeah.
And enjoy the commercials.
I just saw a feature on our local news about the commercials, so they're making a big deal about it already.
I already know there's 2 sportsbook commercials. You got Caesars doing one, and then you have DraftKings doing 2 15-second ones. I'm curious to see how the 15-second ones work.
Okay.
Everybody enjoy the games.
Stick around because the book report's next, so right after this on more Turnpike Sports.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited.
They do not give up until you pay.
They put a lien on my house.
How about you? Do you owe back taxes? Call Tax Solutions now and get some help. For a limited time, the IRS offers a tax forgiveness program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Our team can make it easier for you to pay back taxes, avoid tax liens, and get a fresh start. Sometimes you just need a second chance.
I call Tax Solutions now, and they got the IRS off my back.
At Tax Solutions Now, our affiliates are all accredited by the Better Business Bureau and members of the National Association of Tax Professionals.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now. Call 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132. 800-299-1132.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sportsbook. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E. Make your first wager of $20 or more and you'll get $100 in free bets. That's $100 in free bets when your first wager on Borgata Sports is $20 or more. Get into the action with BorgataSports.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And welcome to this week's edition of the Turnpike Sports Book Report, where we discuss the state and national sports betting reports. We discuss legislative updates. We also do deal reporting, as well as even launches that happen around the country and also pretty much all of North America now.
Shouldn't this all be about New York now? Is that the big sports betting story?
Well,
Let's be honest.
Let's just jump right in it then. Well, we actually
those numbers were staggering.
We actually have 2 states that look to be very impressive. New York with just strictly financial numbers. Then we have Louisiana with some betting volume numbers reported by GeoComply. Let's start with New York. New York is the obvious, the elephant in the room.
The record-breaking New York sports betting market.
$1.625 billion. You can't say it's a full month because they didn't start January 1st, so it's just a little over 3 weeks, and they set a national handle record for a single month, $1.625 billion. That's with a B.
And just for its comparison, the last sports betting record for handle was New Jersey, which was it $1.3 billion? So not only did they break it in less than a month, they just blew by it.
They blew by it by just about $300 million,
yeah.
Which very impressive. They said the state was going to be
and that's just January.
Numbers.
We're not even looking at the Super Bowl numbers yet.
Well, here are the actual numbers for New York.
Okay.
$1.625 billion January mobile sports betting handle. That's not even the retail books.
Yeah, 1.6 just in mobile. I mean, I didn't even see. I couldn't even get past the 1.6 billion to be perfectly honest with you. But we're not even counting the retail books.
Well, here's the big number: $58 million in state taxes.
There you go.
In the first month.
Yep. That's why states do it.
According to many people's calculations, and this is kind of an interesting statement. The $58 million in sports betting taxes is roughly 5% of all legal sports wagering taxes collected across every state overall since May of 2018.
Yep.
So they have already gotten a chunk of the overall tax revenue for the nation.
It's already worth it for the state.
And actually, looking at some of the sports betting numbers for the individual operators, very impressive showings by these books in New York. Some of these numbers are more than what they make anywhere else.
That's another thing that's shocking to me. Not all the mobile operators are operating yet. I mean, this is only it's a majority of them. I think there's supposed to be 9 mobile operators in New York. Not all 9 are working yet. Not all 9 are online yet.
We have WinBet.
Should be interesting.
WinBet launched at the end of last week.
Okay.
And we still have yet to see Ballybet show up.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't announced a launch date yet. There's a whole bunch of others, too, that, in terms of deals. I mean, everyone's waiting for Fanatics, too.
New York is supposed to have 9 mobile sportsbook operators, and not all of them are operating yet. So can you imagine New York at full strength? Unbelievable.
I'm very curious to see what happens after Super Bowl and March Madness, though. And like I was getting to, the individual operator numbers, Caesars led everybody in January, $615.5 million in handle.
Well, they are advertising like you wouldn't believe in the New York area.
I'm
seeing
seeing
Caesars everywhere.
like you wouldn't believe.
I'm seeing Caesars everywhere. I'm seeing Caesars on buses. I'm seeing Caesars on billboards. I'm seeing TV, radio, everything Caesars.
Well, here are the numbers right in a row. We'll just do the handle numbers. Caesars $615.5 million in handle for January. Then you have FanDuel in second with $501.8 million. DraftKings in third with $367.7. BetMGM, which didn't launch the entire month, they've only been a week. They're a week old in all this. $78 million in just a little over a week for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's very impressive for that book. Bet Rivers $32.4 million. They're still about they're less than 5% of the market. And they're just plugging along with however they do their business, and they succeed. Sometimes it takes them a while to get a foothold in a lot of the states, but they're doing their thing. And then you have PointsBet, $29.5 million in handle in about a week's work.
Okay.
So that's kind of impressive in and of itself, because a lot of these numbers are bigger than some of the other states that these books do business in. And like I said, we have WinBet. They just launched at the end of last week. Ballybet has not launched yet. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see if those numbers grow anymore. Who's going to lose market share, depending on what books come on.
I mean, everyone's saying it's a shiny new toy, and certainly these numbers could level off, but I don't think so. I mean, I think that it's going strong. It's a huge betting time for the Super Bowl, and like you said, March Madness. And, everyone was talking about how big of an issue the 51% tax rate was.
Doesn't seem to be an issue.
Yeah, like I said, it's New York. The population is huge. It's the number one media market in the country. It's 51% taxes is the cost of doing business in New York, and let's be honest, it's kind of worth it.
Well,
anywhere else it kind of wouldn't be worth it, but it's New York.
I did notice an interesting trend in the last 2 weeks with New York, and I don't know if it means really anything, but between the third and the fourth week of January, and New York's been reporting their numbers weekly, which actually is a great thing to see. But between the third and the fourth week, I noticed a big drop-off between the handle and also the gross gaming revenues. Between the third and fourth week, we had, in the third week of January, $572 million, and it's down to $450 million in the fourth week, and that's with the 2 extra books launching, too. And then you have the revenue, $43 million, down to $21.6 million. I'm wondering if the promos ramped it up, because it was going, first week was big, second week was bigger, third week, now the fourth week dropped down.
A lot of the promos are for first-time registered people, After you register for the first time, a lot of the promos fall away, unless they had some specials during, Super Bowl or something like that. But like I said, you can listen to our commercials. A lot of these promos are for first-time depositors, first-time registers. So, you can only register for the first time only one time.
I'm just wondering,
it might drop off.
I'm just wondering, with the initial launch of these books, are we seeing the burst out of the starting blocks? And then will New York fall back at some point?
Well, look,
I know after March Madness, everybody pulled back.
Yeah, everyone. Well, that's the test. But look, I think they launched at a great time. You have the NFL playoffs. Hey, you have the Olympics.
You have the Super Bowl.
January
is the big
Olympics.
month for the Super Bowl betting.
Although then you have March Madness. It's huge.
Although I have to admit, this year's Super Bowl is a week later.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to see more betting handle from the Super Bowl in February than we have in years past?
Yeah, because I remember last year a lot of Super Bowl betting occurred
in January,
late January. I mean, it all occurred in late January. I think I did all my Super Bowl betting in late January. Now, you got a couple weeks here in February where you can figure things out.
That's what I'm saying. I think maybe we're going to see a shift in how the Super Bowl betting has been occurring.
Sure.
I know New Jersey was huge in Super Bowl betting in January last year. Same thing with Pennsylvania, too.
Yeah, I think last year, wasn't it like February 3rd?
Yeah.
Or something
and
like
this
that?
is now a week later.
Yeah. So
because of the extra week in the
was
season.
Was it February 13th? Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, so we got an extra week of February betting on the Super Bowl.
It should do wonders for February's numbers.
That's what I'm saying. Are we going to see a shift in terms of betting handle for the Super Bowl? Will January now be a little bit less than years past? Because even though we have more states, I think what we talked about this earlier in the actual main show, there are 9 extra states now, or 9 new states since the last Super Bowl?
Okay.
So I don't know exactly with the February. February is going to be more affected by the Super Bowl now than January is, I think.
Sure.
But again, New York blew by that monthly record. I have to admit, I was surprised, because I really did not see that 51% being just inconsequential, which it appears to be.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was going to be a bigger issue.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the other state that launched mobile betting, which was Louisiana. Louisiana had some interesting numbers, and that was reported by GeoComply. GeoComply verified that 2.68 million geolocation transactions occurred in the first 48 hours of Louisiana mobile sports betting.
Wow, that's a lot.
It was more than New York.
Yeah.
In the first 48 hours of New York's activity, when they launched their mobile betting, New York had 3.3% of population betting volume.
Mm-hmm.
Population volume doing the mobile betting.
Okay.
Louisiana had 3.6%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a huge difference, but it's impressive for that state to overcome the betting volume of New York. I guess it's also because of the LSU guys playing in the championship game. It was the Bengals championship game.
There's nothing like mobile sports betting. Last night I was laying in bed late at night and I placed a bet. I grabbed my phone, I placed a bet in the middle of the night. So where else can you do that? I mean, mobile sports betting is certainly.
Hopefully, it wasn't an Olympics bet.
No. It was what was it? See, I'm trying to think of what it was. It was a college basketball bet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the phone is there for. If it's not being
it's right
used
next
to play
to
a
your
radio
bed,
at night or something,
you listen to the radio, you hear things, and okay, let me take a look at that, and the numbers are right, and you fire off. You can't do that. You can't get dressed and run over to your local sports book, your retail sports book. No, you grab your phone and you place a bet.
Well, in the olden days, it used to be call up your bookie, the illegal stuff. But as long as you're awake and you hear it correctly.
Yeah.
That's the important thing before you place that bet. But again, 3.6% of Louisiana's population was betting the first 48 hours of the mobile state launch. At the end of the weekend, after last Sunday's NFL playoff game, more than 3.4 million transactions occurred in the state of Louisiana.
That's pretty impressive.
According to GeoComply, that puts Louisiana in the top 8 nationwide in terms of sports betting volume.
Look, there's an LSU quarterback making news with the Super Bowl and the NFL playoffs, and Sure, that was like the perfect storm when mobile sports betting occurred, and Joe Burrow was tearing it
and
up.
Also
in the
Jamar
NFL.
Chase.
Yeah, and Jamar Chase. Yeah.
Another LSU product.
Yeah, no, LSU is probably driving that mobile sports betting number.
Well, the gaming department, the gaming division down in Louisiana was bending over backwards to launch it by that championship game, and they succeeded.
Smart move.
Most of the mobile wagering in Louisiana occurred in the Baton Rouge and New Orleans areas.
Okay.
Southeastern part of the state accounted for 68% of the transaction volume over its first weekend.
Wow. Okay.
So, both states. I mean, New York is always going to be the more impressive one with that billion-dollar handle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering how quickly Louisiana gets there, because that was a good showing on their first weekend.
It was a very good showing. Yeah, no.
And they're going to be bigger with March Madness because they have a couple of the games, I think, in the Superdome.
Yeah.
And they allow college betting on in-state college athletics. You can bet on in-state college athletics in Louisiana.
Yeah, it's great.
So they're not going to miss out on some things like Jersey.
Yeah.
Which still, stupid rule. But what are you going to do? A couple other benchmarks to talk about. Commonwealth of Virginia passed the $3 billion mark with their December sports betting report. They are actually one of the quicker ones to the $3 billion mark as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nothing like 3 weeks to hit $1 billion like New York did.
Sure. So the quickest one to $1 billion before New York, I guess, was Arizona, right?
They took 3 months. That was the quickest.
New York took 3 weeks.
New York just said, hold my beer.
Just 3 weeks.
Colorado sportsbooks, they earned $250 million in revenue on nearly $4 billion in wagers in 2021. They were the 6th largest U.S. state in terms of annual betting volume. So Colorado is right there with just about every other new state that's popping on. I mean, it's not losing any steam. Colorado is there.
I've been hearing a lot of sports bettors have been moving from Las Vegas and Nevada to Colorado because Colorado offers a lot of things in terms of promos and specials, and the menu is a lot better for Colorado betting. So it's very interesting what Colorado's doing.
Well, also in Rhode Island, set a record quarterly handle of $167 million in the fourth quarter of this past year, 2021.
I placed one bet in Rhode Island. I forgot what the place was. What was it?
Twin River.
Twin River.
Before it became Bally's.
What town was that in? That
was Lincoln?
Lincoln.
The other one does
Lincoln,
not have
Rhode Island. I placed one bet one time a couple years ago. So
the Tiverton one does not have a sports
Tiverton.
book.
That's right.
Yes. Kind of a fun name to say. And also in Colorado, I believe it was table tennis. They were 4th in the state in terms of handle for sport in 2020 when they reported their December numbers.
Table tennis is always usually the number 5th or 6th sport bet in Colorado, and they jumped into the top 5, huh?
Yep.
4, huh?
Well, Colorado and Oregon, always.
I don't get it, but whatever. I just can't get into table tennis.
Well, yeah.
I constantly look at it, and I try and figure out what they see in this sport. Hey, if you like it and you're a fan of it and you're making money off it, great. But I'm just trying to, maybe if I saw it on TV with more production value. The only time I've seen table tennis, it was like a webcam placed on the table, and you can just see you don't see the players, it's just see the ball going back and forth. So
is it part of the Summer Olympics?
I would guess.
I remember seeing it on TV. I mean,
know.
Really well produced.
It's certainly not now in the Winter Olympics. So if it was part of the Olympics, I would guess it'd be part of the Olympics.
Well, you don't have outdoor table tennis.
Yeah. So I'd watch that. Yeah.
In the snow.
Yeah, in the snow.
I wonder how the wind would affect
snow,
the ball.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple launches here. We have kind of an interesting 2 launches that dealt with Washington, D.C. BetMGM opened its retail sports book at Nationals Park, where the baseball team Washington Nationals play. that's they're the first.
Now, can you get to that if you're in the stadium? Can you get to that?
It's connected to the stadium.
I know it's connected to the stadium, but there's a lot of things connected to stadiums that there's no entranceway from inside the stadium into the place.
I believe there's like a corridor entrance or something. I mean,
right.
it's not like walk in, you're sitting in your seat in the stadium and you turn around and you can hand somebody. No, I don't think you can do that.
Okay.
But it's the first one that's connected to a Major League Baseball stadium. We've got Arizona coming down the road with the first NFL sportsbook with the Cardinal Stadium.
The start of the 2022 season. What sportsbook is that?
That's BetMGM.
That's BetMGM too, right? Okay.
But again, first one for a baseball stadium, pro baseball stadium. It's going to be open year-round.
Good.
Now, remember, BetMGM had also launched their app, so people were actually able to bet within about a couple-mile radius of the stadium to begin with.
Yeah.
So now they can go into the stadium and do it year-round. They actually had their first bet.
Was it a ceremonial first bet, or
I'm talking about a commercial bet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it wasn't someone like a celebrity placing a bet on something.
The book won their first bet.
Oh, okay.
Somebody put $5 on San Francisco to beat LA in the championship game.
Oh, okay.
So they're already in the plus.
Look at that.
Speaking of
$5
DC,
bet, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of DC, well, that's a very interesting first for the state. We've also got Washington, D.C. giving permission or approval to Ellis Gaming, which is a sportsbook operator. They're the platform operator, to expand in the Grand Central Restaurant and Sportsbook. They're going to be opening more teller windows, more betting kiosks.
Great.
And the Grand Central Restaurant and Sportsbook is the first legal sportsbook in an independent sports bar.
Okay.
It's not part of a chain like Buffalo Wild Wings with BetMGM and all that stuff. This is an independent sportsbook, and
but in this one, you can actually in Buffalo Wild Wings, you can't bet. You can't place a bet.
They have the BetMGM.
But this
channel.
one, it's a restaurant that has windows,
teller windows, and kiosks.
Okay, interesting.
And their first 3 months of operations, they had a $1.4 million handle.
Wow.
So a couple of firsts in.
A lot
DC.
of restaurants should take notice.
Canada. We actually have a launch date for the private sports betting market. April 4th is when all the private sports books that have been given approval to launch can launch. Also, right now it's only the lotteries that are running sports betting in Canada, especially the online sports betting. The Ontario Lottery and Gaming Corporation announced that players can now place in-game or place single-event wagers on a variety of sports via their ProLine platform at 10,000 retail locations across the province.
Wow, okay.
So they are increasing the size of the market even before the private operators get in there. So that'll be kind of interesting to see how the market is.
Yeah, the one thing I saw about Canada was I think it was a tweet by PointsBet. They got a license or something.
PointsBet Canada got a license. They actually even did a deal with, let me get the name right, because it was a ski organization.
Oh, okay.
PointsBet Canada announced a multi-year partnership with Alpine Canada Alpine, ACA.
Alpine Canada,
they're spelled
Alpine?
differently. Alpine, and then the other word is ALPIN. So I'm assuming that's French for something.
Okay.
Or
all right.
Canadian or whatever they call it. But they PointsBet Canada is their official sports book commencing with the 2021-2022 season.
I saw that announcement, yeah.
But going back to one other launch that's happening in Ohio. Their sports betting has not launched yet.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Ohio to pull the trigger. Boy, what a perfect time for Ohio to launch sports betting, and they finally have a team in the Super Bowl. And what happens?
You can't call it a launch. They legalized it.
I know they legalized it, but they didn't go all the way and launch it. They had what a perfect scenario for Ohio just to launch their sports betting market when a Ohio team is in the Super Bowl.
Well, in Ohio,
they missed it.
Right now, Ohio, Jack Entertainment.
Okay.
They announced plans to build retail sports books at their Jack Cleveland Casino and the Jack Thistledown Racino, as well as launching an app. They've already launched a website called betjack.com. And what they're doing there, it's a free-to-play site, but it's also educational. they have instructional pieces on the website teaching people how to bet.
See, that's always a great move, and casinos have been doing that forever. I mean, when you go to a casino, you can learn how to play the games before you actually play the games for real money. I know online. I mean, the poker sites here in New Jersey, every one of them have a poker school, so you learn how to play poker, and you know the rules and everything like that. So that's always a great move.
One of the big things for sportsbooks now is responsible gaming. That's how they actually train people or train their customers, I should say, to actually keep their head about themselves. Sure. A lot of people really don't know how to do this without getting sucked in.
Well,
I hate to say it that way.
Well, they get carried, especially you get all the hype around the Super Bowl and things like that, and you get carried away. And one of the sports books has 17 pages of prop bets. I mean,
Caesars.
You can very easily get carried away throwing money down on this thing. So it's good to be educated. An educated customer is always the best.
The one good thing about that 17-page booklet of the Caesars prop bets, most of those are only in person at Caesars Palace in Vegas. You can't go to the website and actually.
Well, they have a lot of.
They
props.
got their own.
They
there.
got a
yeah,
lot of
there.
props online. So
a couple other deals to talk about. We've got FanDuel Sportsbook announcing a partnership with the United Center, home of the Chicago Bulls and the Chicago Blackhawks, to open a 2-story sportsbook. That's going to be adjacent to the United Center atrium. It's not technically the actual arena, but it's right there attached to the atrium as you're making your way into the arena. The interesting thing about this deal is the owner of the Bulls is also the owner of the Chicago White Sox. Now, the Chicago White Sox all last baseball season had FanDuel ads everywhere in the stadium. Everyone is thinking that this would be the first step to seeing a FanDuel sportsbook at the Chicago White Sox stadium.
I'm convinced in about 5 years, every stadium is going to have a sportsbook, or at least kiosks. I mean, it's just heading that way, and it's just good business. It seems like no one's really opposed to it.
Well, according to the American Gaming Association.
Oh, is there a survey?
They have a little.
Did I stumble upon another survey?
They
in
did
the
a
sports
little
betting
"did
industry?
you know" kind of tweet, and I saw it, and I want to give them credit for it because it was a very interesting tweet.
I didn't know you were going to bring this up, though.
I didn't know you were going to lead me right to that one.
Okay.
So,
okay. So it's about people's attitudes towards sports betting in stadiums, or
well,
what?
Here, take this for what it's worth.
Okay, all right.
According to the American Gaming Association, 4 in 10 American adults believe in-stadium sports books add to the entertainment value of in-person sporting events.
Okay.
I mean, that kind of goes without saying. I mean, you can't really, it's the only way it affects the in-person if you have a retail book there. I mean, I know probably 100%.
4 in 10. That's a lot.
40%.
I'm surprised. Yeah. Well, let's be honest. If you're in a stadium and if you have a cell phone, guess what? You can place a bet. And if you're in a legal sports betting jurisdiction, you can place a bet. I mean, if you were watching the Phillies, guess what? And if you have a cell phone, you can place a bet. So what's it matter if they actually have a physical retail book in the stadium? By the way, I mean, they almost have a physical sports book in the stadium. All you have to do is walk across the parking lot and go to Live Philly, and they have a sports book there. I don't know who runs that sports book, but no, Live Philly is like right there at the stadiums.
Well, the place in Chicago is kind of important because you have DraftKings doing the 2-story book with the Chicago Cubs.
Okay, all right.
So you got FanDuel keeping pace with them, possibly.
So why wouldn't the White Sox have one in their
Well,
stadium?
they already have a deal with FanDuel for the advertising.
So you might as well. Yeah.
And they did pass that ordinance
and
allowing the books to be attached to the stadiums in Chicago.
And I guess according to the American Gaming Association, everyone's kind of cool with it. So why not do it?
1 or 2 pieces of legislation to hit in Florida.
What a mess.
The FanDuel and DraftKings backed ballot measure failed.
Yeah.
They announced that they weren't going to make it. Hawaii, we have 5 different bills in the process of moving forward.
That's going nowhere.
In some way, shape, or form. Yeah. You have, let's see, Illinois Representative Daniel Diedick filed a sports betting bill to divert the 6% of the revenue from sports betting to a sports wagering fund to allow for problem gambling in education.
Okay, good.
One of the other things which was interesting in his bill, he had a proposal to create an exclusion list of students and student athletes and university personnel to exclude them from betting.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, the schools would have to report people that can't open accounts.
Okay.
Which was, I haven't seen anyone do that yet. And Mississippi, finally, for the last note for today, Mississippi's online sports betting bill has died, has not moved forward, and sports betting will remain inside the casinos. And also, the mobile sports betting will be still stuck in the one casino that does have.
Don't they see what's happening in Louisiana? People love it down there. It's really doing great things for the state, and I don't get what these states are doing here.
People love mobile sports betting.
Yep.
So that's it for this week's Turnpike Sports Book Report. There were more stories on the ticker going down below us on the TV side of things, and you will also see even more stories in the print version of the book report on our blog, turnpikesportsradio.com. Click on the blog button, and you will see the print version of this book report, which has the stories we did talk about and stories we didn't hit in print form. Again, keep your press releases coming in. News and notes, info at turnpikesportsradio.com.
And that'll do it for us this week. Hey, enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.